Taking a second. Good morning, everybody. We are live. Good morning, Dr. Nelson. Good morning, David Snyder, the Carnivore
Good
Werewolf.
morning. Good morning.
And we're live everywhere we could possibly be live, except Twitch. Maybe I'll set us up on Twitch also next. We don't play video games, though.
Good morning, everybody. By the way, before we start, what's the hashtag today? What are we giving away?
How about truckers? We're going to give away truckers. No. The hashtag is truckers. I'll put that in there in a second. And then what we are giving away today is a Kiltz Health baseball cap. There you go.
All righty.
I'll say one thing real quick. Only place I've got available for live streaming this with Wi-Fi is our Truckers Lounge. Right now, there's no one in here. Can't guarantee it's going to stay that way. So there might be a little background noise.
All right. Dave, correct?
Yes.
Carnivore Werewolf. So we have you here this morning. We have a couple of topics to talk about. Why don't you start with telling us about yourself first, who you are, and how did we get here in more than one sense?
The journey.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I've been trucking for 20 years now, which is quite a while. So I'd say that I'm pretty versed in the trucking lifestyle, including eating. Pardon me. I used to be a vegan for 7 years. Then I went carnivore, and I've been carnivore for 2.5 years, with the exception of some experiments I've been running on my own body for a purpose I'll get to later. I lost my best friend, who was a truck driver, to a massive heart attack. He was only 38 years old when he died. And he just bent down to and pet a puppy and keeled over right there on the spot. That was it. Paramedics couldn't revive him. He was declared dead at the scene. And after that, I decided that I was going to make health a priority in the trucking industry, because it is absolutely horrible out here. And I'm not over exaggerating that. I did create a documentary called Trucking on Steak and Eggs, where I do have advice for truck drivers from pretty much most of the world's carnivore doctors. You guys talk a second. I got to turn the lights back on.
Okay. I guess we're going to run into this morning too, the automatic lights. We're back. We're back.
Motion sensors. Gotta love them. Okay. So anyway, I was fortunate to be able to have many of them in there, including Dr. Kiltz, who had great advice for truck drivers. And I'm pleased to be able to call a lot of these doctors and nutritionists and social media influencers in the industry my friends. We talk a lot. We discuss things about carnivore. And I am creating a second documentary. There is a sequel. There's been a lot of demand for it, so I decided to do it. I'm currently in the process of that now. There will be some new names added that everybody knows. I'll be doing in-person interviews, some of them at their homes. And that is called Trucking on Steak and Eggs Back to the Bacon, is what I've decided to name it for a sequel. I'm also writing a book that'll be coming out later this year, and a few other projects, including the Carnivore Diet Truck 18-wheeler that will be debuting just before summer, touring across the nation, spreading this message.
That's awesome.
So what drove you to start on this journey of carnivore?
Health. Like I said, I was a vegan for 7 years. and it absolutely destroyed my body. I developed serious health issues, including GERD, including leaky gut. I had IBS issues that I had to deal with. I had high blood pressure all the time. My leg, as a driver, you keep your foot down on that accelerator most of the day. I had a lot of pain in my right leg all the time. Gone. When I went carnivore, I'd probably say about 30 days or so into it, no more pain, no more joint pains, no more arthritis, no more locking up of the hands on the steering wheel, which can be kind of scary when you're driving, but they all went away.
And were you a strict vegan? Were you following a healthy, what most people would call a healthy plant-based diet? Or were you just sneaking in some things that would be considered really not the best options, even in any diet?
Just because something's labeled vegan, I found out very quickly that it was not exactly healthy. You have a lot of the fake meats in the vegan community. You've got the Beyond Burgers, the Impossible Burgers that you can get at Burger King and whatnot. I did eat a lot of those items a lot just because of being out here on the road. Those were what was readily available and basically cheap. I did find, however, when I went carnivore, when I cut all the other stuff out, just eating meat and eggs was a lot cheaper. I just had to cook it myself, not a big deal, or make some adjustments at restaurants. You can order burger patties at just about any fast food restaurant. So burger patties, salt, hard-boiled eggs, cooked eggs.
I've seen plenty of truckers in my career. You're exposed to probably the worst of the worst, because a lot of people who make a living driving, of course, every time they stop at a gas station or rest area, the choices are not exactly the greatest. I mean, some people might live on a combination of Twinkies, of all candy bars, and then some maybe hot dogs. that might be actually some of the healthiest stuff. And you have all kinds of, I mean, every kind of fast food restaurant might be available in your favorite rest stop. So I do know that it's not the best diet. And then you're constantly munching on something or eating, because while you're driving, you have just your supply of stuff there available, and you have nothing else to do, right? So
Pretty much, you're driving and you're eating. Unless you go carnivore, then you're satiated. I mean, you really don't need to snack. And if you snack, I like to pork rinds is a really good snack when I'm driving. I'll have a few pork rinds. That'll tide me over until my second meal, because I generally do 2 meals a day.
And so how long have you been carnivore now?
I've been carnivore per se for 2.5 years, other than my experiments I've been running.
Okay.
Like my cereal experiment.
Tell us about the cereal experiments.
And why? Why did you do it?
General Mills, I believe it was their president, if I recall right, was putting a message out to people as far as people being able to feed their families, talking about how their cereals were such a healthy option for families. And I thought about it, and because these cereals are available in truck stops nationwide, you can get the little personal size any truck stop in the world, or at least in the United States. So I looked at that, and I looked at the ingredients, I looked at everything, and it's like, well, basic knowledge is grains they feed to cattle to make them what? Fat? Put more fat on them? It's the same thing with a human. If you feed them grains every day, they are going to get fat. So I did this to dispel, or actually prove, the theory that grains make you fat, because they do. And the majority of these cereals have things like high fructose corn syrup and other types of sugars that are hidden in these foods, plus the artificial dyes, preservatives, additives. Some of them just flat out tell you that they have chemicals in their food. And these are not healthy for humans. So what I did was did an N=1 experiment on myself, because I would never ask anyone else to do this for their body. And found that after eating cereal for a year, Lucky Charms, and once in a while it would be Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, I developed a lot of extra weight.
A year.
Extra weight. A year. 1 year eating one small personal cup of cereal every morning. So I was able to prove that it does make you fat. That is 100% true.
So you had an increasing weight. Were you tracking how much? I mean,
Yes.
Do you have a number?
Yes. When I started Carnivore, I was 305 pounds. I went down to 188 pounds in just a little over about a year and a half.
And you're how tall?
I'm 6'4".
Okay.
And now I'm weighing in at 262 pounds.
Just from eating the cereal in the morning?
From eating the cereal in the morning.
That's 70 plus pounds.
Wow. Yep. And you just ate 1 cup. You didn't like go all in and like eat your big bowl of cereal, like, because you can't stop eating it.
Just those personal size cups you can buy in the store, truck stop stores. And
is that filling?
It's filling, but
how long?
Not long. That's just it. It does me for breakfast. Or I should say it did me, because I don't do it anymore. It did me for breakfast, but then about 2 hours later, I'm ready to eat again. And what's available in the truck stops, if you go in there to any truck stop in the nation, you're going to find aisles and aisles of highly processed foods. You're going to find chips. You're going to find cookies, cakes. You're going to find just about anything, puddings, pies, Twinkies, any of those things you're going to find in abundance there. You're also going to find these energy drinks. I did a personal experiment for the last 2 months now, where I've gone to different truck stops, and I have counted no less, and I'm not exaggerating this, you can do this yourself, I have counted no less than 300 different energy drinks in these truck stops. And I am not kidding about that. The soda section that used to be predominant is now down to about 1/4. The rest are all energy drinks.
Those are terrible.
And just because it says sugar-free or 0 sugar does not mean it doesn't have sugar, and it has chemicals. And these things will also make you fat.
And it is a real problem among truckers, the fatigue and the sleepiness. It is very hard to drive for hours and stay completely awake and high energy, because you have to be alert and
right.
So it is a real problem. So it's not a surprise that energy drinks are popular at truck stop nowadays. Whenever you walked into any convenience store, basically, you have at least half the drinks or more those are energy drinks.
Yep. And now
So
here's something at truck stops a lot of people don't realize. If you fuel at these truck stops a lot, you'll get a driver's card where you can get points. So you earn 1 cent for every gallon of fuel that you purchase, and you can use those points to purchase anything in the truck stop. So you have that, but you also have free refills of all soda products in the store and coffee. I see truckers walk out, and I'm not kidding. They've got a huge mug about this tall, about this wide, and I watch them fill it with things like Mountain Dew, Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, root beer, every single day. And you look at these truckers that are doing it, and they're ginormous. And you can tell they're metabolically unhealthy completely.
Oh, well. Someone just said Kiwi fertilizer tab 1 says no different here in New Zealand. Same thing. It's because
it's profits.
Yeah. No, it's the Rammstein song, We All Live in America.
Now that you're carnivore, though, what are your choices at truck stops? Because I doubt it. I mean, there might be, there are always some fast food restaurants attached to, and you may have some choices.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure they're not a lot of choices. But do you ever have a truck stop with a nicer restaurant where you can actually order a steak?
Yes. Thankfully, there are restaurant chains that are inside some of the major truck stops, like TA, Petro. They usually have, you could have a Denny's, you could have a Black Bear Diner. I love Black Bear Diner. Hands down, on the road, Black Bear Diner is a carnivore's friend. They have a lot of meat options there. You can customize anything the way you want it. When I go there, I get ground beef, usually the taco meat, and eggs, poached eggs. And they will cook it the way you want. Most places will do poached eggs, some won't, but you can do basted eggs. And I found that I really like medium basted eggs. They're my favorite right now.
We've got some questions I want to ask. Kate Sprigg, do you cook on the road? For example, travel oven in the truck, or take leftovers or cold meat, or buy food on the road? What do you do?
I do. I am fortunate. I do have a refrigerator that my company provides for me. I have ways to cook. I have an electric skillet on the truck, a microwave, an instant pot, a little waffle maker, and a few other items that I can use to cook. I find that the electric skillet, and I have an air fryer. I find the electric skillet is a trucker's friend. You can cook so many different kinds of meat and eggs rather quickly on the truck. I do have an inverter, so I can do that. And I do cook on the truck a lot. I buy my meats. Sometimes there are like Quick Stars in America. We have Quick Stars, Quick Trips. You can buy meat there, just like you would a grocery store. So I have ground beef options. I have ribeye steak options, and eggs. Eggs are in abundance out here, thankfully now.
Great.
Where in the country are you? And are you a short distance or long distance?
I travel all 48 states. I'm a long haul trucker. Stay out about 2 to 3 months at a time. And then I go home for 5 days to visit my family. That's what I do. I'm in Michigan right now.
Nice.
Right. And so you come across the theme park type truck stops or gas stations, like the Stuckies or things like that?
On occasion, I'll go to Buc-ee's. They have good brisket.
Buc-ee's, yeah. All right. Any other
Yeah, we
questions?
got some more. Pula, werewolf. How do you combat boredom on the road without the entertainment of food?
Well, if I'm on carnivore, which thankfully I am again, I don't really get hungry. Hunger is boredom. Boredom is hunger, as they say. And so I'm satiated when I eat. I eat twice a day on average. Once in a blue moon, I'll have 3 meals. It just depends. But it's 99% of the time I'll eat twice a day. I listen to the radio. I listen to podcasts, YouTube channels. There's a lot you can do driving down the road. I talk to people. I have people asking me questions all the time. I'm open for that. And it just passes the time.
Nice. This is the next one, and I kind of love this question. Sorry, Dave. Papa Carnivore. Why would you eat cereal for a year, gain 70 pounds, and harm your health? I can see maybe doing it for a month or two, but that's a long time.
The easy answer for that is accusations. When I did this before, I was accused of photoshopping a lot of my results. So I thought about it, and it's like, I'm trying to also get into the minds of truck drivers. It's like, yes, I am like you. Yes, we are facing this together. Yes, we are going to bring our bodies back to health together. So what's the best way to do that? Gain the weight back, start all over. And that's part of one of my new projects I've been working on, is my 120-day reboot. It's a theory I've been working on, and I believe it's going to work just based on my last results. So what I'm doing is I'm going to lose the weight with my fellow truckers as we're going along, or anyone else. You don't have to be a trucker for it to work. Carnivore, if you're doing it right, you're going to get the results. You're going to achieve optimum health, and it is a proper human diet. That is the short answer as to why.
So you have made a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And it's now in the description.
Part of this is
yeah,
documented there. How long of a time frame was this documentary?
The documentary I filmed for just under a year.
Okay. And
we lost Dahlia.
Oh, she's here.
We just can't hear her.
She put the link in the description, so you can check that out. Can you give us an overview of what's in the documentary?
Sure. You've got information about the options available out here for truckers, why it's not healthy. There is some cinematic drama in the documentary itself that I included, and of course, advice from truck drivers from people like Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Robert Kiltz, Dr. Sean Baker. And Dr. Sean Baker is the one who started me on carnivore with his book, The Carnivore Diet. I was just out there looking for things that would work when I was vegan. It's like, this isn't working for me for vegan, so let's see what else is out here. And his book popped up, and I had never heard of the carnivore diet before. I ordered it, read it in 2 days when I got it, and that's history. I also have people like Dr. Sarah Zaldivar. I've got Lily Kane in there. I'm just trying to remember everyone I've got. Two Crazy Ketos, both Joe and Rachel, they're in there. I do have Fit Trucker Josh in there as well. And it's a good documentary with a lot of information packed into about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Awesome.
All right, and you can find that in at the link that's been posted. Very good. And so now that you're back on carnivore, how long have you been back to being a strict carnivore?
Strict carnivore, probably about 3 weeks.
Okay. So
and I've already
see.
noticed a difference.
What do friends and family say?
They thought I was crazy when I went vegan. They thought I was crazier when I went carnivore. But I've proved them wrong. And it's not trying to gloat or anything, but I like it when I'm right. It's like, okay, look. When I did this experiment, this is something that was very eye-opening too. When I would eat seed oils in some of these products, I noticed my hair would get greasy after a few days. Going back to strict carnivore, I would notice my hair would not get greasy. And I even did it for 2 whole weeks without washing my hair, just to prove to myself, okay, seed oils make a difference in your body. They really do. And this is a physical reason why. I also learned, and this one blew my mind, eating fruits and vegetables before, I developed all these health problems. The arthritis was really bad. The other issues were equally bad. But I've noticed joint pain, all that, not putting fruits and vegetables back in when I did my experiment, I haven't had the majority of these issues pop up again. So that kind of tells me in my own mind, the fruits and vegetables are not good for the human body.
Right.
I think I can say safely that probably 9 out of 10 truckers I've seen in my career have back problems. If you've been driving for more than a couple of years, you've had some sort of back problem. So do you have herniated disc, bulging disc, things like that?
I did have some back problems.
It's okay. We can see you okay.
Yeah, we can see you. We're fine. Okay. Well, while he's doing that, I just want to remind everybody that we have some meetups coming up. And I put the link in the chat if you're interested in attending any of them.
Okay. What was the question before I left?
Back problems.
Back problems. I purchased a heating pad. And it got so bad where I would have to plug the heating pad in, put it around my back while I'm driving the truck, just to be able to do my job. Now, nope, no back problems. I haven't used the heating pad probably at least 6 months minimum.
That's great. Do you do exercise or anything? I think
I took Dr. Ken Berry's advice, and I walk around my truck several times. That's in my documentary as well, with him giving that advice to truck drivers. I walk. I do have a set of weights on the truck I use from time to time. I do crunches on my bunk at night. I walk, so I'll park away from the truck stop entrance, and then I walk across the parking lot, parking out in the back 40, as they say. So walking is a big thing. If I can find a school track to walk around while I'm getting unloaded somewhere or when I'm on a break, I'll walk the track.
Nice.
So we have some more questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, we do. We do. It just seems very important, that specific thing, because you're sitting all day. Carnivorous. Do you have any family or members participate in the carnivore diet?
Absolutely not. They have refused. They will not do it. They will not give up their sweets. And highly processed foods for anything. I've tried. They even saw how my weight went all the way down to 188 pounds. They saw the major transformation. They will not give up their sweets.
It's a sad state of affairs. John Garza says, I developed type 2 diabetes after 1.5 years being a trucker. I was 275 when I started and went up to 317. 3 months on carnivore, and I'm down to 264. Good job. Yay.
Awesome. That is awesome.
I love that.
Carnivore works.
It totally works. All right, let's see here. We've got Brisket Boomers. A few years ago, my son at about age 35 was managing a restaurant and was overworked and was drinking energy drinks a lot and fell on the floor having a 5-minute seizure. Wow, that's crazy. He's now 45. Never again. Never again.
Never again.
I have my own experience. It's terrible. I went back to coffee.
Hey, I would rather do coffee than energy drinks.
Yes, it's terrible for you.
And if I'm doing something where I absolutely have to be driving and I haven't gotten much sleep, I will opt for the coffee.
Yeah, I understand. Oh, yes, you just answered this question on exercise. Okay.
I do my werewolf sprints too.
Oh, you should. What's a werewolf sprint?
It's on my channel. But basically, I developed this for people that have a hard time walking.
Yeah.
You can do sprinting, heavy sprinting without walking. All you have to do is stand in place and do what I call the werewolf sprints, where you're just swiping back and forth like this real fast. And you do that for about 15 to 20 seconds at a time. Stop, rest about 15, 20 seconds, and go right back at it again. Do that as many times as you can, and you are moving your system. You're getting the blood flowing. Even when you raise your arms, blood is flowing down, and you're getting movement. Movement is important. I think Dr. Nelson will agree with that, correct?
Any movement. So what's the best exercise that you can recommend to anyone? Whatever they are willing to do is the best exercise. Some people can walk. They don't see themselves even walking. They don't want to try. Even if they're physically able to. Some people are not physically able to for whatever reason. So whatever you can do, you can incorporate it. And there's a lot of functional movements that you can do while sitting. On YouTube, you see all the time these chair exercises. They, they are definitely better than nothing, and they are helpful. You don't need to run. You don't need to walk. You can do some of those exercises. Floor mat exercises can be turned into form of sprinting. And there is a Dr. Ben Boquicchio. I got to send him an email, by the way. And he, he's already retired. He's in his 70s. If you have seen him, great, still a great body. He was a bodybuilder. But he talks about a routine with using just elastic bands, even floor exercises and things like that. You can do that routine, and you can incorporate weightlifting and other things if you want, but 15 minutes 2 or 3 times a week, that's probably enough to get you where you want to go. You want to do a little bit more often, and you can do it. Doesn't mean you couldn't do it, but it doesn't take a full 1 hour workout 4 days a week.
No, it does not. Just movement in general, as long as you're moving your cardiovascular system, you're going to be giving help to your body instead of just remaining sedentary.
Right.
Papa Carnivore has a good comment there.
I think it's this one. Is it this one?
Yes, that's
okay, good. Papa Carnivore, since many of the long-haul truckers are morbidly obese, how do they pass their physicals to keep their job and commercial driver's license?
That's one I've witnessed. That's one I saw when I was way overweight and not healthy. When you go in for these physicals, DOT, Department of Transportation, requires these physicals every at least 2 years.
Okay.
Now, the maximum you can get on your medical card, which you have to have when you have a CDL, you have to be medically fit according to a DOT doctor. So the highest you can get is 2 years without having to do another physical. They have an option to give you a 1 year or a 6 month if they find you at risk health-wise, but they will still let you drive. They just tell you, you need to change this or you need to change that. You need to bring this down so I can give you at least a 1 year next time. Some of these DOT doctors, they are more interested in money than trucker health, and they will take your money or the company's money and turn these truckers out unless they're just, if there's something that's just so astronomically high that they can't in good conscience put a trucker on the road, they'll deny it. Now, that is very rare, but it does happen. Another thing they do is with the blood pressure. Now, when you go in and have your blood pressure checked, you have to be within what DOT considers normal levels, which is at least 140 over, I think it's 85 or something like that. I'd have to look that up. If you do not pass your blood pressure test the first time, they will put you in a room and let you sit and calm down for about 5 minutes. Come in and check it again. If you still fail, then the doctor will come in instead of the nurse or the aide or whatever is administering the blood pressure test. They'll use the old-fashioned stethoscope method, and they'll use the old blood pressure cuff instead of the electronic stuff. But they'll have you wait for about 10 or 15 minutes before they do it. And I understand that. That will bring your blood pressure down. It will. So they'll check it. If it's okay by them, if you squeak by, they'll give you a card and you're out the door.
I believe I may have changed in the last few years, maybe, but I don't think there is a specific weight limit or requirement. But many people with, BMIs that are way above 40 or 50 even, which I've seen, will have some associated problems. Whether it's the blood pressure is a key one. You have to have a certain limit of your blood pressure, and then diabetes may be a problem if you're on the medication that may cause hypoglycemia, and there are multiple limitations on what these numbers are going to be. I don't think specifically there's a weight, but whenever your BMI is beyond a certain point, you must have a sleep apnea test, which is a common problem among truckers. And we've seen probably throughout the years, either documentaries or in the news where they have a camera, and many employers nowadays have a camera recording on you all the time, precisely because of they don't want you to fall asleep while you're driving. How many tons on a big 18-wheeler? How many pounds you carry?
80,000 on average.
Oh my gosh.
That's the truck, the trailer, and the freight. You can be up to 80,000 for 99% of the loads on the road.
So that's 40 tons of weight that you're controlling. And of course, if you're falling asleep, you're not controlling.
It does happen. It does happen.
Unfortunately, it can be very dangerous, even to the truck driver, because we do see those accidents when it happens. They often perish as well. So
it's like
all
I say
right.
in my documentary. Yes, I'm trying to save lives of truck drivers, but it's also you and your family's life out there on the road, sharing the roads with us. If a truck driver has a heart attack, there's a good chance you and your family will not survive their heart attack if you're next to them. That's just a
Right.
fact. If you look it up, DOT has statistics of innocent people killed when drivers have a serious medical issue, as they call it. And the majority of those turn out to be heart attacks.
Wow.
You could be driving
Wow.
down the road to get groceries for your family and you never come home again just because a driver
Right.
had a heart attack. And that's one of the goals of my documentary, is to save lives.
Of course.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Kate has another question. How many hours of sleep on the road? Is there pressure to drive more, sleep less?
On average, now this is something about carnivore too that I noticed. When you go carnivore, you don't seem to need as much sleep as you do normally.
Right.
So I generally survive on anywhere from 5 to 7 hours of sleep a night.
Okay. Is there like, I thought that truckers had to get like drive 16 hours, then break a certain amount of time and get a certain amount of sleep. Is that true?
Yes, DOT has regulations. You are allowed to drive up to 11 hours in a 14-hour period.
Okay.
Now you need to take a break sometime before your 8th hour for 30 minutes.
Okay.
And then you have to take 10 hours off before you can drive again.
After the 14.
After the 14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or,
So,
well, that's 14 maximum.
oh, okay.
You don't have to drive the whole 14 because you can't. You can only drive 11 of that 14.
Okay.
11 is
Okay.
the maximum.
Okay.
Now, there are exceptions for freak storms that come out of nowhere that nobody knew was coming. They'll allow you up to 2 hours for weather conditions that are unannounced. In other words, they just pop down on you with
Okay.
no warning. If you
That's
know
do
there's
they
going to be
keep
snowing ahead, you
and
can't do
how do
that.
they keep track of on that?
Each state has way stations that you have to enter, and or a port of entry, which is basically a fancy way station. Now we have what's called Prepass in the majority of the trucks, where they will weigh you as you're on the highway. You'll pass over scales, and they're right there in the highway. And
He'll be right back. We can see you. It looks a little scary, but we can see you. Highway way
technology.
stations. Yeah.
Highway way stations. So you'll pass over those. They'll weigh you if you're within legal limits and your company doesn't have any serious violations from their drivers. They'll usually give you a green light and say, okay, you can pass. But if you pull into the weigh station, they can randomly select you for an inspection, even if it's just checking your logs. And everything is electronic now with the logs.
Okay.
So the truck will know if you've driven past your hours.
Okay.
And then if you've driven past your hours, DOT will put you out of service for 10 hours and they'll give you a ticket.
Okay.
Or at
Who would
least
want to
a
drive
failed
11 hours
inspection.
though? That sucks.
Unfortunately, that's the way we take care of our families. That's the way we make money out here. We don't get paid hourly. We're paid by the mile. So like this next one I'm going on today, this is a good example. When I get done with this live stream, I'm going to go pick up a load here in Kent, Michigan, and drive it all the way to Athens, Alabama today, 680 miles.
Okay.
And deliver it today.
Today. Okay.
Today. This evening. Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. I get it.
But like I said, like on carnivore, I eat twice a day on average. So it keeps me going. I have the energy I need, and it works. And one of the things I want to talk about here is labels. Labels, I have found, are self-defeating. Now, what I mean by labels, people say, oh, I'm addicted to sugar. I'm addicted to carbs. I can't exercise. I can't. I won't. But those labels dictate how your life is going to go. So you need to ditch those labels. Just because you say I'm addicted to sugar, you can get off of that addiction by going carnivore. It's a fact. Your taste buds will change. You will not crave that sugar. Generally, give it about 30 days at least. Give it a good 30 days. And you're not going to crave that sugar. I speak from experience. I've done it before. I'm doing it again. It works.
And so you're doing, it's a combination of things, I think. You're doing a physical thing, which is the eating a proper diet. Okay.
Right.
So, and that by itself will take care of some of these situations, addictions, if you want to call it.
Right.
Dr. Kiltz likes to talk a lot about mindset as well. So
Yes.
not using the negative self-talk and using positive self-talk.
Right.
It's also helpful. Do you listen to books while you're driving?
Sometimes I do, yes.
Okay.
And I pay for the YouTube Premium, so I can have my phone screen off, but still be listening to videos, podcasts, all that while I'm driving. I just hook it into the speaker system for the truck.
Good stuff. Do we have any
a few
other
more questions? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's see. Is it easier to break through the fatigue barrier on carnivore?
Yes.
There you go.
One of the things I hear this from a lot of people too.
Yeah.
When you go carnivore, you'll find that on average, you'll probably wake up about 3 a.m. Then you'll have energy.
Yes, I don't like the 3 a.m, even though I do that almost every day for work.
Right.
But 4 a.m. is okay. I can do 4 a.m. I was doing with carnivore. It was like 4 a.m. was my body's alarm clock.
Right.
Yeah. Without carnivore, oh man, I was like a zombie. It was so hard to get out of bed. Crazy difference.
I know. I didn't want to get out of bed. It's like, no, I don't want to get up and drive.
We're not truckers, but we keep truckers' hours.
Right?
Yeah. And we do sit a lot at our computer.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's going to change now, effective May 5th, I think it is.
May 5th,
right?
yeah. Yep.
Cinco de Mayo, we're going to start an hour later. A reminder for everyone, it's going to be 6 a.m. Eastern time.
Yay! Yay!
Look at her.
Michael Pregler, when I was in the trucking business back in the 80s, we never slept. We ran a couple of log books and go.
Well, that has changed definitely. And I was going to ask about that because you mentioned now the logbooks basically are completely digital and they got you there because it will be. I'm sure there are companies that have figured some way to try to go around that, but it used to be a lot easier to, do a little bit of a cheating of the system and drive 16, 18 hours instead of 11 or 12.
They still do that from time to time, some people, but DOT has gotten a little wiser about it. They call them ghost drivers. What they'll do is they'll log off of their electronic log. They'll log out of it, drive all the extra time, and then they'll log back in at some point so that they got those extra 100 or 200 miles in. But and on
with
the location,
with
It'll catch up to
location
them.
services, you
Yep.
can know that this, if you dig down electronically, you can still get caught doing
There's
that.
a trail, and DOT's gotten wise to that. Now they even have a big blitz coming up in May where they're looking for ghost drivers, because the log will show you didn't go over your time because you were logged out. So it'll still say you have all these extra hours available when you really don't. So DOT's looking at that now. They're looking for these ghost drivers.
What's the situation about? Because I've seen couples or just people who have partners, and you have two truckers,
Two
in the
drivers.
truck
Mhm.
and sharing time. What are the regulations regarding that?
Same. They can each drive what they're allowed to drive. There is no extra hours for them. The only difference is with two of them, they can keep the truck running 24/7.
Right.
Because while one is driving, one can be sleeping, getting their 10 hours in, then they'll switch out and just that 10 and just keep going and going and going, and that's how they do it. But they're getting their break. They're being able to sleep because you have to trust your partner when you're driving.
Right.
Either you trust them or you don't. When I was a trainer, I used to train truck drivers back in the day, and I had a hard time sleeping with a new student behind the wheel. I just couldn't do it.
Oh yeah, I understand that. That would make sense.
Yeah, I'm always hit a bump, something, the truck shakes, and I'm up there opening the curtains going, what's going on? What's going on? What are you doing?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I had one student that he actually drove 350 miles past our exit.
Because you were sleeping? Oh no, that sounds terrible.
So that was a disaster. That we were late to the appointment. It was a disaster.
Oh,
so
man.
Shortly after that, I decided I am not taking students on my truck again.
Yeah, that makes sense. Pula says, what do you think when you see a car without a driver?
When I see a car without, these self-driving cars?
Yeah, I think that's what she's talking about.
They're not really out here in number. Maybe once in a blue moon you might see one, but personally, I've been out here for 20 years and I haven't seen one once.
Okay, well, there you go. Eve has a question. Have you noticed motivation change on Carnivore? I think this is different from energy. I always have energy, but sometimes low motivation.
Yes, I want to get up. I want to do things. I have a list of goals in my head that I want to accomplish for the day. And I try everything in my power to make sure that I do. I have a lot of projects I'm working on.
Great. Let's see. We already talked about your family, so I won't ask that question again.
Barry Simon has a question. It says,
oh, he does? Oh.
Isn't BMI a bogus measurement? No, it's not a bogus measurement. It is a fact of height and weight. How we use it and how some people use it may not be the most accurate way to determine obesity. And so there's a lot of nuance in its use. But the measurement itself is actually a very factual height and weight. Okay.
John Garza says he was hit in San Antonio by a cyber truck the other day. I'm sorry to hear that.
No.
The self-driving cyber truck or a drunk driving cyber truck driver?
That's interesting. When I was in Tennessee, the car I rented when we went to Yuma, had a feature. I like to use cruise control when the conditions are right. And by the way, I was told by a trucker many years ago, never use cruise control if it's raining or the road is wet. and I've always listened to that. But I like to, when you have a dry, straight road and there's not too many cars in the road,
Sure.
I use the cruise control. But it had a feature: if there was a car in front of you, it would automatically slow down, and if you got to the other lane and there were no cars in front of you, it will speed up to your set speed limit. I had not driven a car like that, but interesting
A lot of
and
trucks
helpful,
do
because
that too.
if you happen to start falling asleep and you come too close, it'll change speeds, and that usually will wake you up.
Oh, it does. I've driven a couple trucks like that.
a cruise control truck.
Cruise control, but it's got front and side radar on it, so it knows if you're getting close to something.
Oh, wow. Brian, Fly Fisherman Dish, what are your thoughts on the new self-driving trucks?
I have seen a couple of them, but not driverless. They still have a driver behind the wheel to take over if there's an emergency, because this is technology. Technology does fail from time to time. It is not 100% perfect like some people seem to think it is. So you will always have to have a truck driver behind the wheel of these self-driving trucks.
There you go. Someone's asked me a question in the chat. Let's see here. I think that we got 4 minutes left, and I got to do the giveaway. So let's see. Dr. Nelson, do you have any last questions for our friend while I pull up the giveaway?
You can just everybody remember that Kiltz Mighty Tribe members have a Zoom call on Mondays. Last night we had Lily Kane, by the way. I don't know if you were there last night, Werewolf. But we had Lily Kane, and I think we hit our highest number, Alia. I don't know if you were.
Yep, 75 is our highest number.
Yeah. So
75 people
she's
on
great.
the Zoom call. Yeah.
She's great. She's got great information. She's a little sweetheart.
Yes. Very low energy, right?
Oh, yeah, super low.
I don't see that.
Brian Fly Fisherman says good Zoom call last night. Yeah, that was great. I love it. It was awesome. Okay, hashtag truckers. Last second to put your hashtag in. Let's see who's winning a baseball cap today. I'm doing the drum roll.
All right.
Can you hear it? Yay, Don! Congratulations, Don Schnanger. Congratulations.
Where does Don? What does Don have to do to claim his
He needs
prize?
to email me at alia@drkiltz.com and give me his address.
Prize, by the way?
Baseball cap, Kiltz Health baseball cap. Ooh, I'll show you the prize. I forgot that I have one. Here we go.
I'm not turning the light on again.
It's okay. You don't have to. This is the prize today, everybody. So Don, email me to claim your prize. There you go.
Awesome.
Yay.
I have one of those. I thought I had it nearby, but
and I got a kilt. Look, we're all in uniform today.
I got my own brand on today.
Yeah, exactly. Carnivore showing. Oh, that's a great shirt.
Thank you.
All right.
He's traveling to Australia today at some point. Yep. That's why he wasn't here, but this is still Dr. Kiltz.
It's still Dr. Kiltz's show. It's still his channel. He just wants us to cover for him while he's away. And I hope you all don't mind. Tomorrow we have the 40-year carnivore, Rick Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah.
One and only.
All right. So one last time, where can we find you?
You can find me, all my links at carnivorewerewolf.com. That's werewolf with an E for those that don't know. You'll find the documentary link there. You'll find the link to my t-shirt shop. I have an awesome carnivore t-shirt shop. And yes, I do have a female version of the werewolf weightlifter as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And then Sandy says, "Yay, we love Rick, the duck man himself." Yeah, we'll have Rick tomorrow. That'll be fun.
Right on.
Yeah. All right, Dave. Well, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for taking your time this morning with us.
Absolutely.
Have a good drive.
Thank
Don't
you.
drive over 11 hours.
Never.
All right. Well, I'm going to hit the end of the live stream, everybody. Love you all.
All right, yeah.
See you
Have a
later.
good day, everyone.
Bye.